Welcome to today's explainer. We're jumping right in today because we've got an incredibly fun one to unpack. We're going to be looking at a vibrant little story called Leo and the Missing Color Thief. Now, what we have here is this wonderfully imaginative concept that blends a super relatable kid protagonist with just massive potential for some really cool 3D visual magic. Throughout this explainer, we're going to break down the mechanics of the story, look at how it captures your attention visually, and see how it tackles that age-old universal problem: a messy bedroom. Honestly, it's just a fantastic narrative about creativity, consequences, and a little bit of magic.
Okay, so let's set the stage by introducing our main character and his world. And the magic number you need to keep in mind here is 120. That represents 7-year-old Leo's absolute favorite possession on Earth, a mega box of 120 crayons. Leo is a kid who lives to draw. In fact, his room is described as a literal sea of sketches. But, and there's always a but, right? Alongside all that awesome creative energy, Leo has one terrible, highly relatable habit. He never puts the caps back on his markers, and he leaves his precious 120 crayons scattered all over the bedroom floor. Just total chaos. And it turns out that single little flaw is the engine for absolutely everything that happens next.
Now, quick question for you. Have you ever left your absolute favorite things in a giant messy pile, only to find them missing or ruined exactly when you needed them most? It's the worst feeling, right? Well, that brings us right to the inciting incident of our story. It's a bright, sunny Saturday morning. Leo wakes up feeling super inspired, grabs his trusty sketchbook, and reaches for his absolute favorite color to kick off the day. But instead of leaving a beautiful mark on the page, he's hit with a total mystery. The way the narrative builds suspense here is just brilliant. It happens step by step. So Leo tries to draw a line with his go-to color, sky blue. But nothing happens. The paper stays completely blank. He looks closer at the crayon, and the bright blue wax is just gone. Literally entirely gone, leaving nothing but a hollow paper sleeve. Completely confused, he grabs apple red. Empty. He frantically tries sun yellow. Also empty. The colors haven't been broken or lost under a rug. They have been meticulously hollowed out. And right as his confusion hits its peak, the mystery reveals itself audibly. Out of nowhere, Leo hears this tiny, high-pitched burp coming from underneath his bed. Burp! And that's immediately followed by a very contented, delicious. It's such a fun little comedic beat, and it completely shifts the tone of the story from a mystery straight into a magical encounter. Leo drops to his hands and knees, lifts his bedsheet, peers right past the dust bunnies, and finds his culprit. Say hello to the Color Muncher, specifically meet Pixel. Pixel is this furry, round little creature about the size of a teapot. Picture a cross between a hamster and a fluffy cloud. But his absolute defining feature is that his fur shifts colors like a living rainbow disco ball. When Leo spots him, Pixel is holding Leo's neon orange crayon in his tiny paws, squeezing it exactly like a tube of toothpaste, and literally eating the color right out of it. You see, these creatures live behind the walls and eat left-out colors specifically to keep their magical camouflage working. And because Leo leaves his crayons everywhere, his messy floor has basically been an all-you-can-eat buffet for Pixel. Obviously, Leo gasps and tells the little guy to stop eating his art supplies. Pixel just casually pops the empty orange wrapper into the air, looks up with these giant guilty eyes, and delivers this absolutely perfect line: caught red-handed. Well, technically orange-handed. I mean, how great is that? It instantly establishes Pixel's cheeky, endearing personality right off the bat. Plus, it highlights the immediate visual magic of the story, because as he says this, his fur is glowing bright neon orange from his recent snack. Actually, Pixel's fur functions almost exactly like a highly reactive mood ring. When he's scared, boom, he turns red. When he's feeling powerful, he radiates purple. And in this particular moment with Leo, when Pixel realizes he's actually ruining the kid's art, he whimpers, apologizes, and his fur instantly drops to this sad, droopy indigo blue. It's a really clever, perfectly integrated visual cue. It lets the audience know exactly what the character is feeling without needing a ton of exposition. But wait, it's not all fun and games, because suddenly the story introduces some very real stakes. Pixel isn't just munching on crayons for a casual breakfast, he's actually on the run. He tells Leo that he is in massive trouble because he's being hunted by the king of the Scribble Monsters, and if Pixel doesn't stay fully colored to maintain his camouflage, this king is going to catch him and turn him into a boring, flat, gray shadow. So the stakes for this little teapot-sized guy: absolute erasure. And literally, right as Pixel explains this, the bedroom walls begin to rumble. The threat has arrived. And the contrast between these two forces is so striking. On one hand, you have Pixel, tiny, vibrant, rainbow-shifting fur, and on the other, you have the Scribble Monster seeping out of Leo's closet. This thing is a dark, fuzzy cloud with glowing purple eyes and teeth made entirely out of jagged, broken pencil leads. It is the literal visual opposite of Pixel's smooth, colorful charm. And to make matters worse, this monster's presence is just devastating to Leo's colorful room. It roars, "Give me the Muncher!" with this horrifying voice that sounds exactly like tearing paper. But the visual impact? Even scarier. Wherever this dark fuzzy cloud touches the walls, Leo's vibrant, colorful posters are instantly drained, turning completely black and white. Seeing his camouflage fading, our little mood ring friend Pixel shivers and turns stark white with absolute fear. Leo knows, right then and there, he has to act incredibly fast to save his new friend. Which brings us to the climax, and this whole sequence unfolds in mere seconds. It's so high energy. Second 1, Leo grabs his rarest, brightest crayon, Cosmic Sparkle Purple, and tosses it to Pixel, who swallows it in one big gulp. Second 2, Pixel's fur blasts out this blinding, shimmering purple light. Second 3, Pixel shouts for Leo to draw a cage, and Leo's hands just fly across his sketchbook, sketching out a massive, heavy iron cage with a giant padlock. And then, second 4, the real magic happens. Because of that cosmic sparkle energy, the drawing doesn't stay on the page. It lifts right up, popping into a 3D glowing purple cage right in the middle of the bedroom. The Scribble Monster lunges forward through the room, but its momentum carries it straight into Leo's newly materialized 3D cage. Slam! The iron door locks shut. The monster wails its final line. No! Squeezed by a sketch. Defeated and trapped, that terrifying dark cloud immediately shrinks down, smaller and smaller, until it becomes nothing more than a harmless little ball of gray eraser dust on the floor. Just like that, the threat is totally neutralized by this amazing combination of Leo's quick artistic thinking and Pixel's magical color processing. So, the dust settles. Literally eraser dust. And Leo and Pixel look at each other and just burst out laughing. The ordeal is over, but their friendship has really just begun. And this crazy adventure fundamentally changes Leo's terrible habits. From that day forward, Leo always puts his 120 crayons safely back in their box. He actually cleans up his room. But he purposefully leaves exactly one tiny piece of a green or yellow crayon on his desk every single night. And why exactly does he do that? Well, because every morning when Leo wakes up, that little piece of crayon is completely empty, hollowed out just like the others. But now, instead of it being a scary mystery, there's a little note left behind that simply says, "Thanks for breakfast." It turns into this wonderful symbiotic relationship. Pixel gets his morning meal to keep his camouflage strong, and in return, Leo's drawings are just a little bit more magical knowing he's got a color muncher living behind his walls. Bringing us to our main takeaway, the colorful lesson. Taking care of your things can be fun. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. How can taking care of your things keep the magic alive in your own room? Seriously, whether it's your tools, your workspace, or your very own set of 120 crayons, how we treat our environment really dictates what we're able to create within it. Leo learned to channel his messy habits into a targeted, magical routine. I hope this explainer sparks some colorful ideas for your own daily habits. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep exploring.
For more interesting videos, subscribe our YouTube channel